Hey, how did the clothes company, The Gap, get their name, The Gap?
I think the clothes company.
Were their T-shirts too short?
There's a number of ways that the Gap company got its name.
Do you know this to be a fact, or is this a wild guess? Because I have a guess about it too.
It's either a bunch of guys got together and they named a company and got a kick out of it,
The Gap.
No, that sounds like
or maybe the original founder was in car insurance and he realized how worthless Gap insurance was.
Right.
Then he came up with a clothing line that lost its appeal very quick.
Yeah.
So it's worthless like Gap insurance.
Or is it like
Could be.
supposedly fashion for the masses, fashion for people who can afford it? Because no one can afford high fashion. Or could it be? But is it really that fashionable?
Maybe it's
or
between.
is it comfortable?
No, Gap is between high fashion and
Low fashion and affordable?
You know, I think
it's owned by a conglomerate that owns probably Victoria's
Old
Secret,
Navy also, I
Old
think.
Navy.
Old Navy, I think Gap. You know what's curious about this conversation is that we're intrigued by the name Gap.
Oh, have we started?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
oh yeah, game on. And I think there's people out in
Like
the
our
world.
sponsor.
I think there's people out in the world that probably are just as intrigued as in useless knowledge just as much as we are.
Well, okay, so that would be based on the premise that curiosity has no merit. I think curiosity on its own stands alone and by itself and is independent because it's you don't have you can seek answers to your curiosity without any specific reason.
Okay, so it's funny you bring this up, and everybody has to remember to talk closer to the mic because we get good audio. But
I think it's down. Is there a way to turn it up a little bit? Because I'm flossing with this mic right now.
do you feel like you're flossing?
Yeah, it's on.
Well,
I don't hear it very well. But
You floss
you hear it okay?
because our tech guy is on vacation permanently. You know,
I think I taste the salt of whoever was here before. Did they have nachos?
is that better?
That's my no. It's
It's
still
like-
this test.
like
1, 2,
Left a
3.
snack for later?
1, 2, 3. Like, did they have like a little bit of a sweat on their hair lip? Because I'm tasting salt. It's pretty salty.
You know,
right now.
my tech guy's been on vacation since I've started this.
Yeah. You should track him down.
That son of a gun.
Is he still collecting unemployment?
Is he still on PTO? That's going on like 3 years now, you son of a.
Damn, I want to work for you, Mark. Just don't keep track. Actually, we do, don't we?
We all did.
We all work for you.
We all did.
You know, I think this is two things. This is modern day America. Your IT guy goes on PTO for like 3 years.
I think he I yelled, dude. I think he
Yeah.
Yeah.
freaking ghosted is like a quiet quitting.
Dude,
Quietly
He
quit.
ghosted me.
if somebody left work for more than a few days, they'd probably figure, do we really need them anymore? If somebody went on a 2-week vacation, like in Europe,
You almost
they
put that
go
on your laptop.
3 weeks.
That's got to be something worth looking up. What is the world record for being on PTO before your employer notices? There has to be like somebody in there that without PTO still was getting paid like a year and a half in. It's like, nobody's called me.
Before they serve you with your termination papers, you can always claim
Errors
mental
do
health.
happen. Whoa.
And they're going to be like, sir, we realize you have not been at your station for a while by the level of dust and the spiders.
You have not logged in
Wait.
since 19...
I'm sorry, Mrs. H. No, I was there on Friday. I was just getting ready for Halloween. It is October. Oh, right.
That sounds like an episode of The Office where one of them went on vacation and was been. Have you seen that one?
But while you're on the phone with me, HR, it is time for my annual PTO again.
I missed
I
that
bet.
episode.
Do you remember
I
that
don't
one?
remember.
I bet, I'm willing to bet that there is a world record for that. You know what I mean?
There is a thing. Hey, we can see your passwords.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, hey, we see all your emails.
Confidentiality here.
Oh, JC Penney.
Well, shut down that Pornhub.
So it's what you're talking about, curiosity. It's funny because that's something I want to talk about today.
Curiosity?
Yeah.
Pornhub curiosity. Okay,
So-
well, here we go.
Oh, I'm
Love
curious.
this
What's that about?
The longest PTO ever taken
in New Mexico.
in the
right?
world.
Oh, in the world.
In the world. What is the record for the longest vacation before returning? Did you know that France has the longest vacation time in the world with an average of 37 days off per year?
Vive la France.
Freaking French. This is why people had a revolution and they all lost their head.
That's right.
They were all on PTO. The monarchy was on PTO. They
Right.
never came back.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, French.
Well, they
Thank you
never-
for baguettes, berets,
Yeah.
the Eiffel Tower.
Right.
What's that little cream-filled thing? The Napoleon.
You're right.
Oh, and croissants?
And
Or
now,
croissants.
and now you're trying
French
to
fries.
And now they're trying to make the United States look bad with these extended month-long PTOs.
That's
S'il
a
vous
long
plaît,
time.
je
Listen.
suis merci français.
If you come back from
What did you just
PTO,
say? I hope you're not cursing.
If you come back after being gone 1 week,
Oh my
1 week
God.
is okay. But if you come back after 2 or 3 weeks,
You're
dude,
lost.
I would really all of your jobs, tasks have already been reassigned. I'm sure. Why
And
do we
then-
need you? Let's reduce the head count.
I do have to I don't know if you guys have noticed this is the last time you've been here, but we have a monitor.
I did see.
I
that.
have
could see that.
It may be a little bright this time, and if it is, that's fine. I'll work on the brightness of the monitor. So you know what I was looking up recently, Dario? This is kind of cool.
We can see all your searches.
Oh boy!
wait.
No, those are-
Don't look at
Those are
that.
your logins.
Don't look at that. Somebody else was on my computer.
I was interested in famous actors in World War II.
Oh,
And it started with Charles Bronson. I didn't do him any honor because when Artie was with me, we were talking about it.
Was he in the military?
Charles Bronson, yeah,
He was a
he was
a veteran.
he was a nose gunner on a B-29 in the Pacific.
Can you imagine that?
Not only this, he got 2 Purple Hearts.
What?
Charles Bronson,
As
the,
a no-
the
as a-
tough guy, Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Bronson?
An enemy fighter came directly onto his plane, shot the nose up to the point where it was almost falling off.
Oh my gosh.
He was wounded. He refused to leave his position because they were in a firefight
Wow.
and stayed in his position. And you know, airplanes, when they shoot at you, they're not regular bullets. They're like big bullets.
Yeah, they're like
It's like,
loaves
oh.
of bread.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, my arm fell off, but I've got another
But
one for
not-
the machine gun.
Right.
Baguettes?
No, Charles
like-
Bronson.
French bread at you.
So he saw hardcore action in the Pacific. You know, we were talking about like World War II and Europe and all that.
You
So-
said hardcore action. I
So-
thought you were
oh.
taking that a different way.
There was a female actor. Whoa,
Hey, hardcore
Whoa.
female actor. Okay.
So this female actor, I don't know who her name was, but I was reading about her. And she was saying she had to do a war movie, and they didn't want to do like, thousands of dollars or millions of dollars of explosions and all this. So the director, Charles Bronson, he has to give the full effect of war through his emotions and his facial, like the face he makes and all that.
Right. His expression.
His expressions to her in the movie to really give her the feeling of like, oh my God, war is hell. What we're going in
Right.
this movie, what we're going through is hell. And she said, and she was quoted as saying something like, looking at Charles Bronson's face, I've never realized how horrible war was until that moment.
Oh my God.
Well, there's another explanation. I mean, he wasn't a very handsome man either.
So are you saying non-handsome men?
So is it terrifying
I
to
didn't.
look at a
So
non-handsome man?
non-handsome man could convey horrible emotions better.
Absolutely. If you're scary looking,
Or
you're not going to have Brad Pitt become the I don't know,
You
the
can
Joker from Batman. Come on.
he could do it though.
So somebody else that saw action in World War II. Do you know who Christopher Lee is?
Yes.
What did he
Christopher
play?
Lee.
He played
Two
Tank
famous-
Commander
No,
in The Dirty Dozen.
Christopher Lee did.
I'm making that.
No, that's what's his name? I know who you're
He
talking
almost
about.
believed it too.
No,
He
no,
almost believed
Christopher
it.
Lee. Curious enough about him. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, the Bad Wizard,
Oh, he was. Oh, the bad wizard.
Oh, he's a bad.
and he also played in another movie also that was pretty notable as well.
Are you talking about X-Men?
Yes, yes, Christopher Lee. But he was in World War II. Christopher Lee, and I forget what was notable about him.
X-Men. I don't, he
So-
don't
Okay,
look the
I'm
same.
curious. How does this circle back to curiosity?
Well, I just thought it was kind of cool to bring up people in history, or because like, one thing I've always mentioned in like what we talk about is amnesia, the amnesia of humanity, and how many famous people there are that are passing that you would have never guessed they were in World War II. They're in acting, very liberal arts and all that stuff. And I started looking it up. There's the obvious ones like Audrey Murphy, Henry Fonda, James Stewart, Clark Gable. Those were like the obvious ones that were in World War II. And so I just, like another really famous actor, the guy that had a really great voice and he played God. I can't even do his
Lee
voice.
Marvin.
No,
He played God. Are you talking
Morgan-
about Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman.
Now he was a radar operator, so he wasn't in the front lines, served in World War II. I mean, I never knew that. That was kind of interesting. So
What about the Korean War? Was any famous actors?
yes,
served in the
James
Korean-
Gardner.
James
Magnum
Gardner. Not Magnum
No,
PI.
Sally Fields, James Gardner, Bandit in the Smokey and the Bear, Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit, James Gardner.
Was he in that movie?
Oh, that's Burt Reynolds.
That's Burt Reynolds. He was a PI.
We're all
He
getting
was-
our facts
he acted
all confused.
He was the movie was a PI, not Kojak, but
Oh my
was-
God! But there's like a lot of really famous people. Like I know I do the story about Bob Hope. Do you know the story about Bob Hope?
yes,
He was actually like an entertainer in World War II. That's where he started.
during World
War II, he did the first entertainment shows for the
USO.
soldiers,
Are you
USO.
talking
and
about,
so
yeah.
he dedicated his whole life to entertaining soldiers wherever they were from then on. So I don't know, just kind of a cool thing to have
Jerry
mentioned.
Lewis, was he?
The one
Sinatra.
the one that you mentioned, that he never talked about it, Lee Marvin, and he was in the Marines, I
I
believe.
don't think that people who served in war ever really talked about it. I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of know that with your like grandparents. You always hear that they never really talked about war. They just
There
they
was
supposed suffered in silence.
I was reading about this, the difference between the Vietnam War and World War II, because the ferocity between both wars. I mean, jungle. Well, the Marines were in the jungle too, but they're both
Pacific.
They're both very ferocious wars.
Yeah.
But this one soldier that was in Vietnam, or no, he was being interviewed, and he was talking about this, and he says, "You know the major difference?" He says, "During World War II, when you got shipped home, you were at sea for 4 or 5 weeks transporting across the ocean with other soldiers."
To decompress.
He says, and you had that shared event and you decompressed. And so it really helped you adapt to the real world. He goes, whereas in Vietnam, you got in a commercial plane with a half dozen other guys that you didn't sit next to them. You didn't know who they were. And then you get back here, people see you coming down in your uniform and they're protesting and they just let you have it. He says, and you're carrying all that with you when you in the 12 hours it takes you to get back here.
Oh, that's interesting.
God, you think of all the PTSD from all that.
I've known, it's funny because, in our chosen career field, we deal with a lot of older guys that are getting significantly older. And the ones from Vietnam, they carry a lot on them still.
Yeah, veterans. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God bless those guys.
What did you guys do for Memorial Day? Did you have your barbecue?
I did. We had a barbecue. Good times. I think
like last Saturday we
Yeah.
did a wine fest.
I don't
and
even
then
know
came
if
to
Oh yeah,
Grove.
the wine festival.
I don't even know if Jeanette
the wind.
remembers.
The wind.
I do
festival.
remember. I remember everything.
Jeanette got fancy and she got dressed up and she went to the wine festival and she was getting
Jeanette,
herself
that was
glasses.
that was like 2 wine festivals in a row for you because you were in Dallas.
That was tacos and tequila.
Yeah.
That wasn't wine. That was tacos and tequila,
Oh.
and that was an event
Music.
for survival.
That was it.
That
It was
sounds like an
hot.
awesome event.
It was freaking
The-
cool.
Music.
Me and Jeanette are closer in our age group, so the lineup that she had was like when we were in school. phenomenal lineup. People from like the 90s, big names,
Yeah.
good rap. Like when
Right.
rap was still good.
Right.
Like when she was telling me about it, I was like, oh my God. You know what? I'm leaving the lady at home. Let's go.
It was really fun.
She doesn't understand a word about it they say anyway, so we're good.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was really fun. It was hot though, but like I was really surprised. I was really surprised that we even lasted till like the last show.
Wow.
And I'm so happy that we did because we got in there, it was hot, we drank water, we stayed cool as best as we could. We ate, we had a couple of cocktails here and there, didn't get crazy. People
Yeah.
were being like EMS was out there, like they were just taking people out.
Oh, really?
People were like paramedics were out there. They were like taking people on gurneys. People were
Gosh.
throwing up on their way out.
Oh, that's so
It was-
amazing.
It was so
I would have
amazing.
loved to have been there. That's amazing.
And
Heat stroke.
and by the time Ludacris played the last show, like people were leaving. They had their chairs. They had great places. They were packing up and leaving. They couldn't take it anymore. So we were able to get from like quite literally the back of the crowd close to the front.
And then it's been so hot lately. I mean, it's been so stupid hot everywhere.
No, didn't they have huge storms
This week. There was like
today?
one
Yesterday?
Yesterday going into
Tornadoes.
today. There was it wasn't
about-
really a tornado,
What they
but
were talking about?
from like Dallas going through Houston all the way to Monterey. It's like one massive storm just
Well,
sweeping from the west to the
just-
east.
We don't appreciate what we have here.
No.
We don't
Dry heat.
appreciate the dry heat.
Dry heat.
We don't appreciate the I don't know. We don't have tornadoes. We don't have
Yeah.
hurricanes.
We have dust,
we have
wind,
dust devils.
dry
So-
heat.
Like I'm from California. Southern California, same thing. You don't really get hurricanes.
It's year-round
You don't
beautiful.
get year-round beautiful. You come
Yeah.
to like Arizona, New Mexico, you have the dry heat. Not, I mean, Arizona saw some flooding. I think it was Tucson or the Phoenix, the rains. They get some flooding from time to time, but not significantly.
Did you see the video of the airplane parked at the airport?
No.
And the security camera captured the wind blowing
Oh my
the
God.
airplane away from the. I mean, it was empty. It was
Was
parked
You
that
know,
Saturday? Were
the
you
world-
talking about the
the world's-
wind?
yesterday.
It's got to be
Oh,
like the
wow.
world's dumbest question. So Mark's walking onto the tarmac to get a plane ride, and the trainer goes, "Okay, well we're gonna go ahead and chain the planes," and I'm standing there like, so
Train
you
them?
have so obviously they
Oh, so go back.
Did you say train or chain?
Talking about me.
He's talking about his
Your-
his airplane experience.
Yeah, let's talk about
and
that.
so I'm walking along,
It's Mile High Club.
and I'm like,
Oh,
so obviously you have a problem with plane theft, right? Like they come and steal
chain.
plane.
Oh, because you're in a small plane.
No, because they're chained to the ground.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
Two-seater,
yeah.
Well, they're
four-seater.
gonna fly.
and I'm
They're
like,
light.
why would you chain a plane? Like, it's like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. I need to chain my truck to the ground.
So here's Jeanette. Their planes are chained from two places on the front right and the front left wing. There's a chain that goes through an eyelet underneath the wing, and the tail section is also chained. But yet, get this, they have no locks. Why do they do it?
Why do they chain the plane down?
Mm-hmm.
Because those planes are the ones that you guys are flying. They're so light. You basically you pull them out of the hangar with your hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have to stay
Yeah.
on the ground.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, okay, first of all, like I say, my stupid mentality, and I guess it shows you the sign of the times.
You think
I'm
you're-
walking out there, I was like, who in the hell is stealing planes? Why do you
No.
have to
And
chain
they're
them
just
down?
so light.
You can take the man out of the ghetto, but you just can't.
I guess
get
so. I guess so.
the
right?
ghetto out
Isn't
of
it freaky
Mark.
though? Because then, on those planes, you can feel every single
No,
air
that was
pocket.
cool. Well, I think okay. Aside from realizing that they are not chaining planes due to gang activity,
I mean,
Right.
that's good to know.
yeah, I mean that's good to note. The safe neighborhood.
Wind gang.
Realizing that the engines on them are so small.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like
There's probably lawnmower.
what are those
engines, though.
side by sides? Those side by sides, the bigger side by sides, probably have a bigger engine than those planes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, like
Polaris R.
they are tiny
Yeah,
airplanes.
yeah.
The only thing I could think of is like a Harley, the V, the V something engine, where it's two cylinders like
They
that.
only have 180 horsepower.
They're tiny engines. You're putting your hands
Wow.
and in the life of an engine about this big, Jeanette, could you do it?
I didn't fly it, but I was taken up in a 2-seater by my brother-in-law when he was taking flight lessons at Holloman.
I was about to make a comment about
There was
that.
a
No, you can't, because that didn't happen. It was a flight around like Sierra Blanca.
When a guy offers a girl, a trip, and she's like, "It's a 1-seater." It's like, oh,
It's a 2-seater, and
2 people could fit.
and I could feel like all the bumps, like the turbulence was crazy.
But
it was really cool. I mean, it's so nice.
I didn't feel significant turbulence.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was beautiful.
It's really
should have the
pretty.
opportunity.
It's so pretty to be up in the air like that. It was really pretty.
Oh my
It
God.
was nice.
Right?
I really
It was
liked it.
cool. It was really cool.
I always, when I'm up there, I'm always looking for trails of the conquistadors.
Yes. I agree, because I kept on seeing all the trails go out in the desert, but those ones were the straight trails, like the roads. And first of all, who in the right mind makes a trail for 30, 40, 50 miles perfectly straight out in the middle of nowhere? You know what I mean? That's the first thing.
Someone who's
Yeah.
smuggling drugs.
Right. So
Putting it on
it was
mules.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta
Did you fly over the prison?
Yeah, I saw the bombing range.
Oh,
Yeah, that
oh,
was
the
cool.
bombing range. Yeah.
Or the bombing, the target on the ground. So, just such a very cool opportunity. It's just such a very cool opportunity, and I think it's just something everybody needs to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's super cool, and
Yeah.
thank you, Dario. He's just
What
an
a
awesome
guy.
guy.
What
He's
a
such
guy.
whoever
What
this
a
Dario
guy.
whoever this guy Dario is,
I'll
he's
have to
just
meet him someday.
he's fantastic. You know what I mean?
You have to introduce
Yeah.
me to him.
He's a keeper. Okay, let me see. Okay, I've got this figured out now.
Oh.
I have this figured out, Jeanette.
Okay.
Okay, I'm like
looking-
almost
I'm looking
there.
At your docs.
I'm trying
Looking
to.
for folders.
Well, I'm having to figure out, like, how do I, do this or do that, and I'm just trying to, you know what I mean?
No, I don't have any clue.
Nobody knows what I mean.
I never know what you mean. I'm always surprised by what you have on the table. Where did you get those soccer balls?
These.
What are those soccer balls?
So what
Are those stress balls?
I just put them there. Yeah, they're stress balls. But after the bear incident of 2000, May 6, 2000, where allegedly I may or may not have
Been attacked by a
wrestled
bear?
a bear to death. Allegedly.
Allegedly. No one knows the truth.
No, I think we all do.
And the bear's not talking.
You think I was a mess with my hand when he was done with me? You should have seen him.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Sounds like
So-
a tall tale.
It's taller that the bear was very tall. The bear was a big guy.
Did you hear about the people that ate bear meat and
Oh,
they
yeah.
got the worms?
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that's
brains?
common in the brains.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who ate bear meat and got worms?
So it's
Parasitic
very
worms.
like, okay, so bears have first of all, you have to understand, bears are omnivores. They eat
Raw meat.
everything. No, they eat everything. I mean, when a bear kills you, they'll stash the meat. They eat old meat. They eat them. They eat their own young. They eat everything. I mean, that's the one thing I have to stress to you, right?
So what's the lifespan of a bear if they're eating everything?
They get to the ripe old age of, I don't know. That's a good.
I was going to say, you were talking about curiosities. That's a
Right.
good one.
Okay.
Now I'm curious.
How long do bears live?
I mean, and do they die from worms?
Oh wow, up to
brain.
25 years in the wild and 50 in captivity.
25 years because they
So-
died from worms?
So
The worms ate them.
50 years in captivity
out.
because they're probably not killed by another bear.
And they have 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
They're fed. They're happy.
Oh.
They don't have the stress.
Funny quote about Charles Bronson.
They're probably not married.
Funny quote about Charles Bronson. It's
You
funny that you say
wanna
that
now
because that
be a-
reminded me.
You want to be a bear?
So we were talking about Charles Bronson.
Right.
He grew up very poor, and he said he did not eat he did not eat 3 square meals in one day until he joined the army.
Well, unlike Chuck Norris, who's just like a beast.
Yeah, I mean Chuck Norris.
Mm-hmm.
He eats.
He eats kids for breakfast.
He doesn't eat square meals.
He doesn't eat square meals.
Yeah.
He eats cool
Sure.
meals.
The
does
meals.
he eat?
He doesn't eat meals.
He doesn't eat
The
meals.
meals lay down and die.
The meals jump in his mouth. Because
He just
simply
he absorbs
He
the
absorbs
nutrients
the
through his beer.
his beer.
Chuck
So-
Norris is amazing.
So to answer your question, once I allegedly lost fingertips,
Allegedly, it's kind of obvious.
part of the rehab to get that dexterity back was I'd have to do this, do it backwards, and do all sorts of stuff.
You have to cuddle balls.
I don't cuddle with them, but
Oh, okay. Can I say that?
so
Oh, no, I shouldn't say
whoa,
that.
hold on, game
Oh.
off,
Oh, bienvenida.
Who's that?
time out, game
Time out.
off.
Game off.
Mark, you just let sleeping dogs lie.
That's funny you say that. Sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah, just I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Game on.
Okay,
Game
game
on.
on.
Game on.
Game on.
Game on.
Ice.
You know, I've been learning a lot about therapeutic communication.
Tell me about.
Is there such a thing?
There is, believe it or not, and
What
you can
is
use
it?
it on your favorite friends and family.
Therapeutic. So what does that entail? Please
So
tell.
it's a way of communicating that makes it about patient-centered. Makes it patient-centered. So you don't talk about you or you're being accusative or you're, putting them under the, breaking them over the coals by saying you need to do this or you are doing this or you're behaving a certain way, blah blah.
Yeah.
You're more like putting yourself.
Are you stating the facts?
You don't say you say I see. You use observational language.
Oh.
I see
Huh.
you seem upset. You want to talk about that?
Is that a difficult transition to do? So when I'm in the hospital for an alleged bear attack
Yes.
and I'm laying in bed and
Yeah.
the nurse comes in with like a mini skirt, the headpiece and all that stuff.
And she called you an idiot for attacking a bear.
bear
You
was
did
killed.
something
You're-
very stupid.
You did something really
I took
stupid.
his fish out of his hands. I'm sorry. I was hungry.
You're sick. You've been punished by God. What did you do?
So the way the nurse talks to you, there's actually like curriculum on that communication with the patient. Interesting.
Non-judgmental, non-accusatory, just observational.
So is calling somebody an idiot, is that judgmental?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. But how would you rephrase that?
How would
I've
you rephrase
noticed
that?
that
in
you're
therapeutic?
having difficulty thinking.
I mean, evil.
I hear you. You sound upset.
So,
Wanna
I mean-
talk about that,
I know Evil Knievel tried to jump a cliff on a dirt bike.
right?
That's like a mile wide.
Yeah. What were you
That's
thinking?
I know. So obviously he knows he's an idiot.
So you can't say that. But how would you tell Evil Knievel you're acting like an idiot? That was an idiotic move.
Let's ask our researcher here. How would a nurse communicate? Evil Knievel, you're an idiot for doing a stupid jump, which he already knows that's the issue.
What were your goals? in jumping over that narrow, impassable pass.
Well,
what
you know,
did you think the end
you know
result
what
would
What
be?
the hell were you think? I mean, what was your objective? Do you want to talk about
It's
that?
like, well, you know, nobody else in the world has done it, so I thought I would be the first.
You can't use I words. Oh,
No,
yeah.
no,
Oh, yeah,
if he
Yeah, he's-
answered, if he
so-
answered.
So what I hear you saying,
he's Evil Knievel and you're talking to him.
yeah. So what I hear you saying, it's important to be first.
Well, yeah. I mean, I fully understand I was probably going to break every bone in my body. I just didn't realize that. I didn't realize when somebody says breaking every bone in your body, that was not just like a way of saying something, like colorfully.
How do you feel about that?
Well, now that I say it, it just really seems very accurate.
What do you think you might do next time? It sounds to me that you didn't like that ordeal. You got hurt, and you may not want that to happen again. So what do you think you might try for next time?
Maybe bring a parachute,
A stronger bike?
stronger bike. Maybe, the boots. I needed better boots.
Manage somebody else doing it?
I forgot my bike boots, so I had to borrow a pair of tennis shoes, and I was inaptly prepared for this jump because it was an equipment failure. Had I had my motorcycle boots, I could have made the jump. I mean, that's what I can see Evil Knievel saying to that question.
Have you had thoughts of suicide? Lately? Or harm to yourself or harm to others?
I don't think Evil Knievel ever hurt anybody in his jumps.
Just himself.
Just
Yeah.
himself.
So way to go him. Way to go him.
Just
go.
only hurting himself.
Well, because you realize there was that one race car that race like early on in the racing track career, before they had like all those really secure chain links around the in front of the spectator stands.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a really severe car accident where the rear axle or something like that
Flew into the
flew out of the car, flew into the crowd, and it decapitated like a couple of people and killed a couple of other people.
Are you talking about like bike racing or
NASCAR.
like NASCAR?
It was either like NASCAR or something like that. It's actually a super famous accident that before they put all the safety features in for the bystanders, because it's not common for like things to hit that fence like a tire. Because you're going like 300 miles
Isn't
per
that
hour.
crazy? There has to be a death or a traumatic event before safety is considered.
Yeah, like how crazy that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, here it is. Let me see if I can properly do this. Oh, that's a small picture.
You're talking about like
It is called the 1955 Le Mans disaster.
Le Mans.
Le Mans. It says like Mans. I'm not French.
Le Mans.
Le Mans.
You're talking about like when
37
Ferrari
days. 37
Ferrari
days.
was racing. Didn't we watch a movie like that,
Yeah,
Daniel?
Ferrari and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, have you watched
Ferrari.
the other
I
one,
did.
Ferrari though?
Oh,
Just Ferrari
wow.
There's another
with
one? The
Adam
kids?
Driver.
Holy smokes.
Gran Turismo was really good.
Turismo.
I really liked it.
So check this out. The 1955 Le Mans disaster was a major crash that occurred on the 11th of June, because other countries put the day before the month, unless unlike us in the United States, we say June 11th, 1955. Wikipedia, like, get it together. It's not the 11th of June, it's June 11th.
June 11th.
During the 24
Cinco de
hours.
Mayo.
That's Mexican.
5th of May.
The 5th of May, May 5th. So that occurred on the 11th of June, 1955, during the 24-hour Le Mans motor race at the Circuit de l'Art in Le Mans, South France. Large pieces of debris flew in the crowd, killing 85 spectators.
Are
and-
you kidding
and
me?
French driver Pierre Levey, and injuring another 120 more.
Why hasn't a
85
movie been made on that, or has there?
I don't know.
Holy
I have no clue.
55 people.
Holy smokes! Like
Moments before disaster.
that's insane to think. Like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
I think I'd take less risks now that I'm older, because it's harder to recover from broken bones.
Really? So what
Torn
led you to
ligaments.
wait? What led you to learning to fly planes? That's not leprosy.
I mean,
What's the worst that can happen? It's not that bad.
right? Yeah, you know,
Come on.
I'm taking less risks these days, but you're taking flying lessons.
right? You know what
I'm
I mean?
not
So
sure
they had those
committed to
those
that.
Let me
spiffy
reconsider that.
those spiffy little cars from back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Full of
that had
safety features.
that had like no roll bar over you.
Death traps.
Oh,
Like the
yeah.
car comes up to here to your shoulders, and if the car flips, you're instantly the top half of your body is ground down. So what did I say? 83 spectators killed, and 120 more injured. Like
At Le Mans.
how is
Le
whoa?
Mans.
Did you see that? Here we go. They're coming around the curve. There's people real.
Oh my gosh.
That like hold on. Let me
Holy-
oh my
Rewind.
God.
Rewind.
There's a fire there. So look at the people are leaning over to
Oh
the
my
racetrack.
God. I think people are on
That's
fire.
like the Hindenburg.
Like look at that. There's no barrier there between the people,
People
the
really
spectators
are on
and the
fire.
track. Look at his leg. It was bent the opposite direction completely. Oh my God. Dude, there's a burnt body.
Jesus.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my.
That is absolutely insane. But look at this fence. It's like a little wood fence. There's nothing there that protects people. I mean, which explains why it is the way it is. Look at that
Oh my
car.
God.
It's a Formula One race.
Hold on. Let me. Here's the turn. Here's the turn, and here it goes again. Comes around, and the people are watching. Boom! The whole car
Oh
goes into the
my
crowd.
God.
Isn't
Look
Le
at
Mans
that.
like several days or 24 hours?
It's a
how long
24
is-
hours.
How it's 24-hour race?
I mean, it's like driving from here to
Is
San
it?
Diego and back.
Is it a 24-hour race? Daddy,
I
do
don't
you like
know.
cars?
I don't know. A Ford and Ferrari that seemed like it went through nighttime.
Look
so
at
maybe-
whoa.
It did.
Did you see that right there? Hold on, right here. Look at this.
Look at his legs.
Look at his legs. This guy's legs, and there's that lady. She's
like
praying.
that
She's
movie
freaking
Alive.
out. Oh no, not that
He's
one.
on fire.
Like,
what happened to his
oh my
pants?
God, this is the most insane thing ever. Like, and it happened in 1955.
Right now.
I don't know, dude. And ugh. I think I didn't go back far enough. That was insane. That was like stupid insane. But you see, dude, you literally see that car fly. Look at that. Here's his torso.
That's his leg coming up like.
That's the leg right there. So, as the man that is training to treat patients in critical care, how do you feel about this injury that you're seeing where the leg is very obviously pointing his toe? He's scratching his nose with his toes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Is that natural in your opinion?
No, that's a abnormal position.
Uh huh.
And as the French might say it, c'est fou quoi.
And
Vous êtes fou quoi.
wow.
As the French
just-
might say.
It's
Wow.
a tourniquet. On a French fou quoi.
Wow. You hear it first. You heard it first here.
that's-
Well,
Yeah.
Here with our resident
I've seen plenty of videos.
lifesaver to be. We actually, for the first time in the history of our 33 shows and our 20 to 40 people that follow us that maybe like us enough to get through 5 minutes.
At least our sponsor.
If Johnny Walker knew they were sponsoring us, they would put our pictures in the liquor store. Like, don't sell to these guys no more. Don't sell to these guys no more. You are not allowed to sell them, Johnny Black. We sell an off.
You've been served a restraining order.
They're like,
Do not use our name.
the bottom of the line is Johnny Walker Red.
Yeah.
But for these folks, we have a very special off-shelf bottom line. It's called Johnny Walker Brown. It's, in French, it's done le caca.
Le pew pew. Le pew.
It's like, I got this new bottle of Johnny, bro.
Reposado caca.
Oh man, that is horrible. Well, that was the worst accident. I've never seen that clip. That blew my mind.
Have you ever
That's
been to one of
wild.
those races, though, guys? Have you ever been to
No,
like a car
no, I
race?
haven't. No, I
No.
haven't.
It is the
I've been
loudest
to
thing you've ever been to.
just
if you
bike
ever go.
racing. Bike
That's
racing.
insane. Well, you do the horse races too, right?
I've never been to a horse race like Kentucky Derby, but I've been to bike racing
Wow.
in Virginia.
Like
Uh-huh.
motorcycle bike racing?
Yeah, and then one in Ohio, like where they were racing like Ducatis and
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Those
god.
guys fly out.
Well, my friend. Passed
Yeah.
away on Ducati.
oh yeah.
Oh,
I
that we got to give
know.
it. Take a drink for.
Oh.
Take a drink for
Aw.
Sam.
Sam
Here's the Sam.
to Sam.
Great guy. Love Sam. Yeah, you're far from the camera now.
Here's to Sam. Poor Sam.
Great guy. Great guy.
He's a great guy.
He liked to
that
go
jumped-
fast. He
liked
lived
to
well.
fly out of planes without parachutes.
The kind of guy that would give you the shirt off his back.
Oh,
Okay. That's cool. So, I need to grab my notes because I've been taking notes and I make notes now.
Of what's been
oh,
happening.
you make notes?
I make notes and I have to remember. See, like, it's a lot to remember. Take notes during the day. I write them down. I try to put them in order.
So
now
we're
I
doing
have to pull them out when I'm here. I
now
give
we
you
have
a
to do
monitor.
like a game
Do it on
off.
your
Game
phone.
off.
Game on. Game on.
Game on.
Game on.
As you know,
That's for the editor
Animal.
to be able to splice.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Splice
Game
it right
on.
there. It's like the video position changes when you come back.
Game on, and it's like
I don't have my notes. Believe it or not, I took a lot of notes. And
Okay, hey, did you know that when you do take notes, there's a neural link to you remembering more via writing things out
I kind of feel like
Yeah.
there's some truth to that.
over typing?
I
or
believe
just
it.
Seeing it,
I believe
Writing
it.
it out, the
cutting
effort
and
to.
paste.
Do you want me to put some ice in your glass? Because that can't be
So-
cold.
So going back to my notes, and I don't remember what we were talking about that. And you made a comment earlier about curiosity killed the,
The
dog,
cat, the
dog,
dog.
and the cat, and the neighbor.
The neighbor too.
Everybody,
Damn.
everybody went on. So okay,
Everybody died.
so every now and then, and Jeanette, you can you can probably agree with this. We like to dabble with like weird stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and we're not these. I consider us like a middle of the road podcast. We're not sports. We're not conspiracy theorists. We talk about some modern day stuff. I always talk about Ukraine because it's still going on. Russia's talking about using tactical nukes on Ukraine.
Why?
Because Ukraine is bombing radar sites in Russia now. And Russia's pissed about it. So I've listened to a number of analysts talk about Russia podcasters too, like Ryan Macbeth. There's a lady from the War College I was listening to talk about this. And a couple of things that are curious about Ukraine real fast before I kind of segue back out of this is Ukraine and Russia, even though they're like in this like drawn out war, neither side has the military might to muster enough forces for a major front.
So what are they doing? Just fucking... Oh, did I say the F word?
You
I did.
Bleep.
I know, bleep. They're just like pissing on each other?
Kind of. They could get enough together for like a company.
It's like World War One, a war
It
of
is.
attrition.
It's a war of attrition. You get small groups of guys to run into the other side, cause a little havoc. They return. But here's the deal, though. Everybody has Russia has bombers and missiles that are very similar to our cruise missiles. Ukraine has our long range missiles and whatnot. So Ukraine and Ukraine does an amazing job with drones, which is changing military tactics across the board because they're using it effectively. So Ukraine is doing that, and they've attacked a number like the Russian warships with drones, and they've sank them.
Yeah.
So now they've destroyed some major radar installations deep in Russia, and Russia doesn't have the ability to really do an overwhelming frontal assault. So Russia's talking about doing a tactical advance or a tactical nuclear strike on Ukraine. So it's not like dropping a tactical nuclear bomb. What it is it's like basically a low-grade nuclear warhead. So basically, like what it is like, say World War One, like towards the end, the Allies were making these major breakthroughs. So if Germany had a tactical nuclear bomb, it would be a nuclear bomb you drop in that area that's very limited in scope, and it would wipe out basically the whole front line right there, and it would stop the front in its tracks. Do you know what I mean?
So, but what's the idea behind doing that?
Because that's the best option to do for them to strike back to Ukraine, for Ukraine using the arsenal they have now to strike deeper into Russia. So that's what they're.
But the Russians won't be able to use that land for hundreds of years.
But it's a lower grade. It's not like the Tsar bomb that's like 50 square miles and it's intense radiation. It's a low yield, and it's a big bomb, but it's not like Chernobyl, basically.
How long will that?
Who knows?
Be radiated, and what's the benefit of
so
that?
tactical nuclear weapons were developed in the Cold War, when Russia thought they would come sweeping down through that corridor that comes through Germany into Europe, and they figured, well, the NATO will send battalions of soldiers into this gap to stop the Russians, because there's like really one corridor that goes from Russia to Europe that goes right through Germany. And Russia says, well, if NATO sends like a battalion to attack us, we'll drop a tactical nuclear bomb, destroy that battalion, and we'll be able to run through that area.
Because they have hazmat suits on?
Because it's hazmat suits, maybe it's a lower grade uranium, but the deal behind tactical nuclear strikes is it's a smaller strike, usually against personnel. It's a smaller yield, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So that's Ukraine, and then the whole thing going on, in Israel, and we can go into that later. So segueing back though to this whole curiosity killed, the dog, the neighbor, right?
Oh, okay.
So like I say, I've kind of been thinking about this, and like I say, we like to dabble. We talk about ghost stuff. I'm going to talk to Ario, take it in a Tesla to the cemetery one night to see what happens.
Oh, we should. Can we?
Sure.
I'm like, can we?
I watch other people take videos of their cars and take videos outside of the car of the cemetery, and
know-
the car detects tons of people there.
I feel
that
like
aren't
it's a
there.
field trip. Can we do it like during the day?
You're asking me. I don't own the car.
Okay, can we do it? Can we do it? Is it open at night? I think they chain it up though, don't
I
they?
don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll take chain cutters.
Oh God.
So we dabble with like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, let's not be crazy conspiracy theory, right? Let's have fun with it, but let's talk about like the stuff we talk about. But then I got to thinking, what's a really good topic? Why do people believe in conspiracy theories?
Because we question society, we question our government, we question everything. I think conspiracy theorists is actually pretty good.
Well, okay,
You should question things.
Okay, so there's a number of popular
I think I've said
conspiracy
that.
theories.
I've said that before.
You know, Kennedy, there's like 5 shooters, right? 4 or 5 shooters.
Well, there's-
that we never went to the moon. That's a popular conspiracy theory. The 9/11, that's the most like recent big one that the government did it, right? Or the government brought down the towers, but there's not really a lot of proof to prove it or not
It was
besides
an
videos.
insurance scam.
Right. Now, here's the thing. There's these conspiracy theories, right? And some of them might be like, well, how are you going to hoax going to the moon when you have 20,000 people involved, multiple companies involved? There's like too many people to keep quiet about like us faking going to the moon, right?
Right.
But then you have one conspiracy theory that turns out to be true. Actually, 2 I could think of. 2 that turned out to be true that suddenly gives credibility to everything else.
Like
So-
somebody who got off
Well,
from death row because they served 20 years before they realized he didn't do it.
right. So now we have to look at everybody else on death row.
Yeah.
So one good example is the Vietnam War. How did the Vietnam War start? Let me ask you this.
The Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin. So do you remember what happened with the Gulf of Tonkin?
Yeah, they claimed that they were attacked.
By?
Frigate went across the
North
line.
Vietnamese sent little warship attack
Yeah.
boats to attack our ships.
Yeah.
That's been proven to be 100% false, and that conspiracy theory that the government made that up as a reason to go to war, that has been proven to be true. That not Lyndon Johnson, I don't know what administration was it Nixon, but it's been proven to be 100% true that the Gulf of Tonkin attack never happened.
Wow.
But yet that was used as pretense to go to war in Vietnam.
To enter the war.
So you have
Oh, they say that the bombing of Pearl Harbor was a conspiracy
right
to enter.
that we
the
knew
war.
about it. Now, you could say we probably knew bits of pieces of it. Did we know the whole? Were we able to put it together? That's the $1 million question, right?
Well, they always talk about how there was warning signs that the Japanese were going to attack Pearl Harbor.
Could be.
I mean,
right?
it could be, but I mean, you never really
You
know.
never know, right? So
It always the way it always seems to play out on things that I've seen. It
So-
always comes down to like miscommunication. Could it
there's
have been prevented? Maybe.
there's
know.
an interesting story.
Would you like some Sanchez? No.
So the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Oh,
or Cuba in general during the Kennedy administration, and this is one of those other stories that turns out to be true. That the powers that be, the Department of Defense, a lot in the military, a lot of Congress, what did they want to do? They wanted to invade Cuba, hands down. They wanted to invade Cuba.
yeah.
And a lot of people were trying to rustle up reasons to go to Cuba, and so there's this whole story of like that the CIA took a part in killing Kennedy. That's a whole other conspiracy theory, right?
Yeah, but there's multiple conspiracy
There's
theories
multiple
about
conspiracy theories.
why Kennedy died. I mean, they're saying that it was
The mob. Mm-hmm.
CIA, the mob.
But
Who knows?
so there's a story about the CIA trying to give us a reason to go to war in Cuba. Right? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm eating a cracker.
I know. Aren't these snacks
They're
so delicious?
They're delightful. Okay, so there's a conspiracy theory that the CIA concocted a plan to hijack planes, passenger planes, American, and crash them in America as a pretext to go to war with Cuba.
Wow.
That conspiracy theory was proven true, and it's called Operation Northwoods. the CIA came up with a whole plan, and President Kennedy shot it down, and his whole thing was anti-CIA at that point, which is kind of his whole beef, the whole beef with CIA and Nixon or Kennedy, because he saw them as a menace after this. You would be willing to kill civilians to start a war.
Right.
So another conspiracy theory that turned true, that gives credibility to all these countless other conspiracy theories. And so, like,
The boy that cry wolves too many times won't be believed when there's actually a wolf.
right,
That's why people believe in this.
right. So, and okay. So, Apollo. People say, and I've heard everything about Apollo. That we didn't go to the moon, that we faked it, that we made a lot of stuff here on Earth. And one theory I like is that we made a lot of film of the men on the moon. We filmed a lot of it here on Earth in case they didn't come back, or in case they didn't have the film for some reason. And that seems very plausible. But the one theory I liked about Apollo is people would always say, well, we don't have that technology anymore. Well, that technology is 40 years old. Even the computers from back then really don't exist anymore.
Right.
Our computers now are so advanced.
Your phone could do that.
Our phone could do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would we still have those computers from the 50s, 60s?
It took up a whole entire room.
Right. Why would we have that still? Of course we don't have that technology anymore. It's antiquated. So it kind of like, it proves itself. So again, I started going down the rabbit hole. Why do people believe in conspiracy theories? And Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about this a lot. It's really interesting. And so they both had two different ideas that kind of lean into it. And I like them the most. And then there's actually a name of a theory that I wrote down that why people believe in it. But so Neil deGrasse Tyson, he talks about how when there's things that you see that you don't understand, you come up with a story to make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the process of developing a story amongst yourself, or you share it with people, or people that have a very similar story, you guys are making sense of something that you don't understand. And which I've told Jeanette 1,000 times, the older I get, the more I realize I don't know as much as I think I know.
Like alien abduction.
Right. Yeah. Alien abduction is a really good example, right? Because nobody can make sense of it. And it could be,
But the stories come back very similar.
right. And there are a lot of there are a lot of things that you can have, like sleep paralysis. It's very common for people to get that. You know, what do they call that about your legs when they move at night?
Irritable leg syndrome, or
restless
Restless leg syndrome.
restless, irritable.
So
It's
there are-
irritable.
There are.
It's an irritable bowel.
It's irritable.
I know, it's an
bowel.
irritable bowel that affects your legs. You run.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense because they talk about how memories are tied to language. When you start to learn how to talk, you're able to talk about your memories. So it's kind of like almost the same concept. You're talking about like you are using what you have in order to understand the world around you.
And especially when there's
Like language.
complex science, when there's complex science behind it, which you, me, and Dar here, none of us, like, there's complex science that you and the three of us don't get, right? So it would be very easy for us to come up with an idea of how something would work. And I think the best example of that is the flat earthers. They're always coming up with science experiments to show that the earth is flat.
But why haven't they come up with proof of people falling off the earth?
They haven't come up with proof that, right. And then when you show
Everybody
them,
that's disappeared.
I know, right? They all fell off the edge of the earth,
I
off
know.
the ice wall.
Where the heck is where is the border for the end of the earth?
It's a kind of an interesting idea, and you know, like with flat earthers, whenever you show them evidence that the earth is round, the feedback or the response is always like, oh, they're faking it.
Oh my god.
So it's very easy for you to dismiss the empirical evidence that might prove it's true. That, hey, the earth is round. Look at this. We have video of the earth turning. It's from outer space. It's from our space probes that are deep in outer space.
The people that are flat earthers, are there any scientists that are members of that group?
I don't know. That's a good question for Google, right? Any science. I don't know. If I can learn to type and learn how to use this, any scientists that believe in flat Earth? That's a super good question. I mean, something came up in physics world here, but it doesn't give me anything like definitive.
Is there anybody who's fallen off the earth?
I know, right? Where
Can we have a list of missing persons who've fallen off
that
the earth?
allegedly have fallen off the earth?
The Earth's edge. Can
So-
you imagine? I mean, that would be like something. I mean,
The number one site that came up that's from Physics World
you think
talks
all these
about
influencers
a
would be out there
ra-
at the edge of the earth?
a rapper's quest to prove the Earth is flat.
A rapper's quest, is that the band called Quest?
Nope, unfortunately.
Okay, I was
Thank
like, what are you
God it's
talking about?
not.
Okay, I was gonna be like, do they really believe in flat Earth?
But they
A
don't.
tribe called Quest.
I know, right?
I'm confused.
Nothing
hell?
came up like is right away. Such and such scientists believe the Earth is flat. Okay, so there's that, right? So that's a pretty good thing. That I like that Neil deGrasse Tyson says that you use conspiracy theories to try to
Understand
right?
the world around you.
Now,
That's what religion came as. Some people say.
right? Could
To
very well be
explain
right.
magic.
So then, Michio Kaku, he says it's even more than that, and Michio Kaku is the famous Asian
How is it more than
like
that?
theoretical physicist, I think. Super smart guy, another super smart guy. They're just, I mean, they're probably underpaid, really smart, probably underwomanized. I don't know.
Working by the hour?
Working by the hour. Maybe not. Maybe they're on
They
salary.
must be working at Hamburger.
Working
We're
by
not
the
name
hour.
dropping anything here.
Oh, sorry.
So okay, so he says it's more than that. He says when we were cavemen, there were things that we did not see, or there's places that were dangerous, and we created theories and stories to keep us safe.
Kukui.
Kukui, like the kukui.
The kukui.
And he says over
Kukui.
the life cycle of the earth and
Mexicans say
humanity of tens of thousands of years, Michio Kaku says it's become genetically ingrained in us that we have genes in us that are triggered to keep us safe, and so we have a way of thought,
The Sixth Sense.
kind of like a sixth sense, but when there's something dangerous and we're trying to quantify it in a way that we understand it, we start coming up with conspiracy theories. So he says it's something that's more in us and on a genetic level now that came about millions of years ago when we were still in caves.
So you're saying it's like a form of survival.
Yeah. So it's a form of survival because like you're out hunting and you're looking for the mammoth, right? You're looking for the bear and you want to kill him so you can eat him and you can feed your clan or something, right?
Then you got to find your way home.
Well, so you're going through a dark area and you hear rustling and you hear a growl. And so do you see what it is, or you tell everybody like some sort of story like, oh, that's the ghost, don't go over there. Do you know what I mean? Like you come up with a story to keep you and those around you alive as to like why you shouldn't go explore this area or something because it's dangerous.
And then we purposely do it to
ourselves.
To our kids and say, if you don't go to bed, the kukui is going to get you. Or was that just me?
So
That was.
Was that just me? Okay.
I'm sure
Okay.
somewhere, Jeanette.
Sorry.
Somewhere.
I'm all traumatized. My PTSD is coming out.
Ove. So
Damn it. There's
so-
no kukui.
So we do it to ourselves. We did it to ourselves a long time ago, and now it's a part of who we are. Which, that's a completely plausible thing as well. I
That
think.
seems super rational.
I know. Who would have
Dang
thought
it,
these
who would have thought?
guys that have gone to school for their whole lives that they come up with completely rational ideas?
That's a rational idea. That makes a lot of sense.
You know, that just pisses me off.
On their deathbed.
And so, and I wrote this down, but there is even
You can't prove it. You don't have your notes. You didn't write it down.
look at my conspiracy theories. If I have an apparatus to write with, and some sort of surface area to write on, I will write notes. I will do it.
I don't know. I haven't seen these notes. Would you like some?
So there's an
Thank you.
there's an
Alleged
actually
notes.
like a psychological. There's an actual psychological name for this, for people that have the tendency to believe in
I know.
conspiracy theories.
It's
And
called paranoia.
Bouja Day.
no, there's actually a name. I just
What is
It's the opposite of deja vu.
I honestly can't. I wrote it down and I can't find
None
it
of
now.
this I've ever seen before.
But so
Damn it, Captain. I'm a
just as
doctor.
like as some people are like, I don't want to say schizophrenic, or some people are OCD. Some people have that tendency to believe in the stuff more willingly.
It's called open-mindedness.
Is it open-mindedness?
I
or
would
is it
think so.
something
Or
else?
just
Foolishness.
I mean, is it open-mindedness? You're right. Or is it just being gullible?
Is it? I mean, okay, because the advancement of science in the modern world is based off curiosity. People that wanted to understand science, they wanted to understand stuff, so they were curious and they came up with theories. Gravity is a complete theory, and some random guy came up with a random theory about gravity because an apple fell allegedly, and he developed a whole new math we call calculus.
But I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The apple didn't go up. The apple went down.
But they,
Why it could have gone up.
D-
But
is
what
it
would that
is it
would-
possible to think that before he called it gravity, nobody called it gravity? They just said it fell.
Yeah.
So what came first? Did the idea of like, hey, there's a downward force called gravity made it fall, or did the idea of like, hey, it just fell?
It just fell.
I think the apple was
I think
fermenting and it fell in his mouth and he got drunk. And it was actually a mushroom.
It's
So-
a mushroom.
The mushroom fell into my mouth.
I
That's
knew
the reasons.
I
Those are
knew
the
a
reasons I give.
biochemist that went to a conference, and I asked him, I go, what's this conference about? Like, you were out of town for a couple days, and he goes, it was super cool. I go, what it was about? He goes, it was a whole conference about alcohol. How did alcohol come to be?
Someone accidentally ate a fermented fruit.
He says the most plausible theory was because they had pottery. Something was being stored in the pottery that somehow got filled with rainwater and fermented, and somebody decided to possibly drink it umpteen thousand years ago.
Let's drink
Wow,
this
what a
fetid
lucky
water.
person. What a
Right.
lucky person.
Probably a
I know,
slave.
right? It's like, this is amazing. How do I recreate this?
How do
Taste
I
this
do this?
before we serve it
Taste
to the
this.
king.
Taste this.
Well, think about it, though. Like, if you have no
Oh,
knowledge
let me
about beer, wine, nothing,
It's magic.
like, how does that come about being alcohol? You know the story about coffee, right?
Hold on.
Coffee. Coffee was an interesting one, but I think I
A
think
branch fell into the hot springs. A branch of coffee.
no. So there's actually a whole story about coffee, but I find it because alcohol is complex, right? Like, would you agree? Alcohol's
Yes.
difficult because you have to do the yeast, you have to do the fermenting.
But that's alcohol for like. But can't you have alcohol by having just fermented fruit?
I guess I don't
Haven't
know.
like monkeys eaten fermented fruit and gotten
They get
drunk?
drunk, yeah, they do, right? In
I mean,
Africa.
couldn't that just naturally have happened without like
And just to give you an
study
idea,
naturally?
so
Right.
coffee. The story about coffee goes is in Africa, everything happens in Africa, that there are goats that eat a berry that falls off the tree.
Oh, God.
No. It's called the dancing goat story.
Is it the berry
have you heard about that?
shitted out? There's actually a coffee that gets eaten and shitted out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
did
don't know
just
what
say
that's
shitted
called. Do you
out?
know what that's called?
defecated out.
Yeah, the morning runs.
The morning runs. And then someone decided to
Did you-
freaking...
It was bad.
It's actually
When you-
a documentary or...
When you moved your mic, did you do something to the switch there?
It was
Because
a test. 1, 2.
is it me or does he sound like he's far away? Did you hit the switch on the mic?
Test 1.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
There you go. You turned it off by accident.
Sorry.
I mean, the story about coffee is well known. The goats ate the coffee beans. They start going crazy, which is why they call them dancing, right? The farmer decides to eventually he figures out what they're eating. He tries to eat the coffee beans, and he gets that burst of energy because it's not like he's been having caffeine his whole life.
He's like, what poison have my animals eaten?
Right. So he tries it himself, and then he realizes he gets like a rush off of it because it's like the first time he's had caffeine in that sense. Then he takes it to a local priest. The priest gathers them. They make like little mush cakes out of them that they used to eat.
I'm surprised the priest didn't want to do an exorcism on it.
And so the priest,
Devil
coffee,
bean.
so coffee used to be like a mush you would make until somewhere later somebody started running water through it and making coffee. But there's kind of the story of like how it started.
The Turks drink coffee like thousands of years ago.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. But that's an easy one. The animal is eating it. He tried eating it. He saw the response. What about alcohol? Like, think about it, literally. So, okay, using your theory about like monkeys eating rotten fruit.
Yeah.
So, if you ate rotten fruit one day and you got drunk off of it, would you be like, how in the hell did that happen and how do I recreate it?
Well, you'd have to retrace your steps. And also, I mean, that's maybe where animal testing came from. Saw the animals
Dario,
do it. They
if
didn't
you were,
die.
If you were a caveman, would you retrace your steps?
No, I would go to the shaman and get a prescription for some weed, and then go into a cave and draw my hand on a rock
And
in
now,
France.
50,000 years later, we have this magnificent cave bar that was really a caveman that was high.
Now, if I went up there, there'd be 5 fingers on the wall. If Mark went up there, it'd be 3.5.
Aww.
And I would do one of a bear as well.
Of course.
A bear.
Symbolism.
You can like make your claws.
I would
Some
I would make them epic.
Epic.
Like, I would not put 3.5 fingers. I would do a finger and a half that were epically like deadly.
Right.
They're like, this guy has a really messed up hand.
You know, going back to your thought, yeah, we all are individuals, and for however much we think we know somebody else,
Yeah.
the life that we lead is very much a solitary existence.
Yeah,
I can
it's
agree
an
with that
alone. It's
completely.
an alone. I mean, we're born alone. Is this depressing? Die alone. But we're alone most of the time. But I think that it's also nice to surround yourself with people that maybe understand you more than others.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
Friendship. But yes, it is. It is
Leave it to
solitary.
Jen to make that a feel-good story.
I know. Do you feel?
Jeez.
Do you feel tingly? I hope so.
So that gives me a
Well,
theory
hold
about
on.
women and butterflies and
You need a minute. That's so
Okay, the refractory period is over. We may continue.
which brings me back to the story about my brother having been married a gazillion times. No, it's not crazy. Maybe
like how many times?
I don't know, short of like 2 baker dozens. I don't know.
Is this the one? Is this, yeah. Is this the one
Allegedly,
who
allegedly,
lives in overseas?
yes. But
Oh, we didn't meet him then.
he did. He never. Yeah, he was there that night. But
Okay.
he never gave up his relationships with his with his friends.
Someone here?
Ah.
Game off.
But
Is
he
someone here?
okay, game up. This is the second time we talked
Game
about his
off.
brother. We lose it.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, game on.
Game on.
Okay, we're whispering.
I know why.
God, we've had so many interruptions today. I feel like that's life. If there's anybody that's like one of a handful of followers, you probably realize there's interruptions in life. Dario fell off of our flat Earth here.
He did. He's the first
Gone.
one. So I mean, it disappeared.
So we disproved the round Earth theory because he fell off the edge.
Well, hopefully he didn't, because his Tesla should have detected that and rerouted.
So, just to maybe wrap up on what we were saying,
If we can remember, do you remember?
we were talking about conspiracy theories and why people have the tendency to believe in conspiracy theories.
Because this is how we understand the world.
It's how we make sense out of things that we don't understand. And probably the weirdest one to me is the flat Earth theory. Because you and I, we talk about a lot of weird stuff. We've seen weird stuff. We've been in the presence of weird stuff. And it's funny because I feel like the stuff you and I talk about is not weird. It's not like conspiracy theorists and all that.
Well, because we've seen it together, I don't feel like it's weird. And in fact, maybe if you're from New Mexico, there's a lot of like superstition and a lot of like.
But you know, and I've said this again,
like ghosts and stuff like that, and
you have a very solid head on your shoulders. Even though I have a horrible sense of humor and I talk trash to you like crazy, but you have a very sound head on your shoulders, so you can think about stuff analytically. And
the ice went away, so
and you can be rational about things, right? And I think that has a lot to do with it, because what I have learned, and tell me if this has been your experience or not, when people are impassioned about a strange theory,
they get crazy.
They jump in head first. I mean, they're just all in. They're just like, they are, you know, what do you call it? Hook, line and sinker. They're in. And I know when we've talked about it, when weird stuff happens, I feel like we try to rationalize it first. It's like, maybe it's like the water lines. Well, maybe it's it. Maybe like, it's like you kind of start going down the checklist of like what it could be. And at the very end of it, it's like, okay, but that's just weird. But we're not, but at the end of it, I still don't think like you and I are the types to be like, that's the CIA. The CIA's out to get us. I never
jumped to that conclusion. I never said like, oh my God, the leprechauns are out there.
But I feel like, there is a certain people, and I'm not saying bad about these certain people, but there is a group of people that does have the propensity to jump in crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not over there off the Rio Grande saying that's La Llorona. Oh wow, maybe we should.
I've heard stories.
Should we go to the Rio Grande and see if we can?
I would like to see it.
Should we go see if we can spot La Llorona?
I would.
I mean, it's supposed to be on the Rio Grande, right?
I think it's a great adventure, and I think it's cool. You know,
I want to do the Tesla thing.
But and I think those are cool things. Those are cool mysteries to look at. And if you do get evidence of the mystery, the plot thickens. But again,
we're not jumping to that conclusion. I'm thinking it's going to be a dog. Or a cat.
You have never been one to go on the deep end of it.
No, I'm not.
that the church and that the government and the wealthy are trying to get you. I mean,
no, I've never gone that deep end. There's no way.
But why do people go that deep right away? Like, why do they go in that crazy?
I don't know. I meet those people like almost every day,
and
I really do.
And for the 25 people that are listening to us,
I know.
I give us 5 more on that. For the 25 people listening to us, and between you and I and the wind or whatever, we all know those people that go hard.
Oh, yeah.
No analytical, no science. It's just like, dude, this is crazy. The government's out to get us.
Yeah, I know. I meet those. But I see those people all the time.
Like, what is that?
I don't know. I think it's maybe lack of information. I think it's also being easily influenced. And you know what I feel like is going on too? People believe everything they see. Yeah. They get so easily influenced by what is on their social media.
Is it? Oh, that's a whole other thing we talk about in a second. But is it the idea that people just want something to believe in? Maybe.
But
I mean, life's mundane now. You go to work. You go in at 8. You get out at 5. Some people go to the gym and some don't.
Yeah, it is pretty mundane. I mean, if adulting is not exactly easy.
So in the process of adulting, do you think people want to be a part of something and they want to believe?
I think people just need to be entertained.
How does from Gladiator? Are you entertained?
I think we're just trying to find things to entertain us. I mean, come on, we're entertaining ourselves right now.
Right.
as we speak. We're doing this and we're talking crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
But
no, we're talking about what we think, and
I've
it's
thought
fun.
about this topic,
Yeah.
and it's funny because we from time to time we talk about fringy stuff without trying to get fringy ourselves. But for some reason, this
It's-
specific topic,
It's interesting. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and I try.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't wrap my mind around it. But not to because I want to. Maybe because I want to believe in something more,
Mm-hmm.
and because for me, it's like aliens super interest me because we're on this planet
Would it be
all
amazing
alone.
though? I mean, like, wouldn't it be amazing?
Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be amazing to not be wrong?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's
Come on.
another good reason.
I want to be right on something. You know, dang it.
And if somebody is like a retarded nerd like I am, the fact that man,
It
there's an
makes
advanced
sense.
civilization in the universe.
It makes sense to me, but I mean, I
Right.
have to. I mean, I can't just go out there and be like, "It's happening right now, people." But
Yeah.
I don't know if it is.
I don't know.
But
Yeah.
I like where my imagination goes.
I mean,
I like the possibility.
okay, let's just quickly like kind of do like a touch and go on some of these conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Jeanette, reptilians control all of the world's governments and the Queen of England and all that. They're all truly reptilians trying to control all of mankind.
Absolutely not. I don't believe that. Absolutely not.
UFOs are coming down to take people and do like these sexual experiments and reproduce alien hybrids for a possible conquest or for survival of their civilization.
Is that plausible? I don't know what sort of experiments they're doing. I don't know if they're like sexualizing, they're like trying to have sex with humans. But I would like to believe that maybe there are alien life forms. It's plausible. I mean, it's kind of like a lot of space out there.
I always say that
It's plausible.
the UFO one is plausible.
But I don't know who
for
these aliens are. What if they're like
Yeah.
not very smart? Or maybe they have to be smarter if
Well,
they can get
here's
here.
Here's an idea about this.
Okay.
99% of the conspiracy theories about aliens involves the same race of aliens that are like large heads, big black eyes, and they're
I
grays
really
or
don't know
something.
if that's what they look
Yeah.
like. What if they're already here? What if they're like my household cat?
Yeah. What
What
I
if
was
the cats were the aliens?
here? Okay, I
I mean,
get
I
you.
don't know. I mean, what do we don't know what they
We
look
don't.
like.
We don't.
They
Okay.
could be super small for all I know. They could be the household. They could be the size of a fly.
Right.
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know, right? What do we know?
I don't know.
Okay. Bigfoot.
Okay.
And Bigfoot includes Yeti and Abdominal, so no man.
Do I believe that there are species that haven't been discovered? Absolutely.
I think that's a really smart way of putting it.
I absolutely.
Because they are still in the ocean and on the earth are discovering
Yes.
species.
So
And
it's plausible.
if the species had half a brain, like apparently the Bigfoot does, it would have the ability to stay like away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't discovered everything.
we haven't discovered anything. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's an
And if
interesting
it's-
idea.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I don't feel like we've discovered every single species on this planet. So yeah, I believe it.
I was gonna say life after death, but that's not a conspiracy theory, really per se. But what about Kennedy and the additional shooters, and he did not act. Oswald did not act alone.
Have you seen the documentaries on Kennedy?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Oh,
I mean, not that I love to watch the president be
Right.
assassinated, but there's a lot of holes in what
very
happened that day.
Compelling stories.
You have eyewitnesses saying that where the bullets were coming from, because they were saying that they saw shooters out where people were at.
Right.
And I mean,
Puffs of
yes,
smoke. They've heard.
Yeah.
They heard the what do they call that? Is it the recoil where you hear the.
they're
from
saying that
different
the
angles?
shooters didn't necessarily,
Yeah.
from eyewitnesses on the ground or the spectators, say that there was someone there.
Yeah.
And
There was like a bullet that hit the curb or something like that from a weird angle.
so yes, is it possible? Absolutely. I think
And
that
you know the
it
thing-
didn't have to come from the Texas, the book depository.
with an old rifle
Yeah.
that wasn't very good.
I think that it could have been
You know,
more.
So two things about the Kennedy assassination, and we'll jump quickly to the next one, is all the major players are dead, and the Kennedy files were resealed.
And how is it that
for like
right
another
away
75 years.
Oswald and he was barely getting booked and he was barely getting questioned, and they killed him right away. He wasn't meant to speak on it. Like he may have had some insight. Like no fools. Like maybe he was a part of it, but I feel like they didn't give him a chance.
What about the guy that shot Reagan? Why did he shoot Reagan? I can't remember his name. The guy that shot Reagan while I was trying to kill the president.
Yeah.
He did it because he was infatuated with Jodie Foster and wanted to impress her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so the fact that Ruby shot Oswald is like, I'm angry at you for shooting the president, it's crazy. But the fact that another shooter shot Ronald Reagan because he was infatuated, I think, with Jodie Foster, and he shot the president for that reason, that's just as crazy. But it happened, right?
Well, there's a lot of crazy things. People who shoot other people, like famous people.
Yeah.
Look at who is the one I'm thinking of, like
the Black Dahlia.
Oh, that hasn't even been solved.
Murder, right?
That hasn't even been solved. Like who the heck did that? How do you do that?
The Manson murder.
That's crazy. The Manson, yeah.
Another conspiracy theory: CIA mind control.
I don't think that good. They're that good. I think we give a lot of credibility to our.
That's interesting. That you
to our government. I really don't think
that good. And we give them more credibility.
I don't believe. I mean, maybe it's true, but I don't buy it.
There's the conspiracy theory that the drug problem in America was created by the CIA bringing drugs and flooding the streets. What about that?
I thought that it was. I thought that had something to do with the LSD for Vietnam.
LSD was the mind control stuff.
The mind control stuff. Are you talking about like Dennis Leary?
No. There's a theory, and I'm gonna butcher it, but something about the CIA. They flooded the streets with like heroin, and the African American population at the time was really hit hard from it, but that the government intentionally bought the drugs themselves to flood the streets with drugs.
But I'm sorry, like what's the purpose? It just seems like, I mean, you're talking about programs who are like, I don't know, it just seems like a huge cost.
But at the time, you had the civil rights movements, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I mean, as a way to subvert those movements, right? I mean, so you think about, is it a plausible conspiracy theory? I don't know. It's kind of far-fetched.
Is there really that much hate? I mean, I'm sorry. If they're saying African Americans, wasn't slavery enough?
I know, right?
I mean, like, what do you have to gain?
That you would still hate people to flood the streets with drugs? So that's kind of an out there.
That's kind of out there. I mean, that's just out there. I don't.
Here's one that you dropped. That the United States government knew about the Japanese wanting to bomb Pearl Harbor. Plausible. I mean, you're talking about the day where people still trust the government. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Is it possible? I don't know. I think that. I think this is another thing that I think that we give the government a lot of credibility
more than they
probably deserve, because I kind of feel like they're not as organized and as smart as we think. They're ordinary people.
Yeah.
They make freaking mistakes. I mean, we're professionals. Mm-hmm. And as professionals, I feel like I'm pretty sharp, but do I see mistakes happen all the time?
Do you make absolutely mistakes?
Oh, yeah, we can.
I knew you made mistakes. I'm glad you owned up to it.
Do I make mistakes? Yeah, but I own it. But not mistakes like that.
I was just thinking about
you think about like the business that we do, the mistakes that we make. You're a business.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a conspiracy theory. An old one.
Okay.
Probably the oldest one of the older ones that I could think of right now. But that the American government discovered gold in the Rocky Mountains, and that we intentionally went to war with Mexico to win all that land because we knew the gold was in the mountains, because it wasn't long after the Mexican-American War that there was the California gold rush in 1876 or something like that. And you know the 79ers, or the 79ers, they were called the 79ers because it was 1879, the gold rush. Mm-hmm. So is it plausible that conspiracy theory that we went to Mexico, war with Mexico to get that land for the gold?
Yes.
Do you think that's plausible?
Absolutely. Whoa. I think it is plausible.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, look at what we did with Native Americans. Look at what we did with their land. What
did we do with their land, though? Look
at what we did. We pushed the Native Americans out of their own land, and we put them in like.
But the Native American one was pushing west due to manifest destiny that we were destined to go from sea to shining sea.
We still took them out of their land because we wanted something to gain.
Whereas with Mexico, it was like the theory was we knew there was gold in those mountains, and so we had to get that land from Mexico. That's the conspiracy theory.
Wouldn't that be manifestation in a sort of weird
Manifest
way?
Destiny?
Manifestation, manifest destiny. Manifestation.
I'm manifesting gold.
I'm manifesting gold.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on that. I don't feel like I have enough information on that.
Okay.
But on the outside, from what I'm hearing, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, kind of a strange, more modern day, not
It's
modern
not like
conspiracy theory.
it's not like a fringe type thing.
It's not a fringe thing.
Is it possible? Yeah.
Okay, it's plausible. So let me spitfire another one.
Okay.
Germany, World War II, Germany. That Germans had contact with UFOs. They discovered the bell, and some German scientists used the bell to like teleport, time warp through time, landed in the United States. And they came to here in the United States, and that they had contact with UFOs and developed this advanced technology, but it was too little too late, in that the Germans escaped to Antarctica to live with the aliens and escape prosecution from the Allies in World War II.
Absolutely.
And you laugh. But this is a conspiracy theory.
Absolutely not. Don't you think that if the Germans had all of this technology during World War II, don't you think that they would have stopped the bombing of?
Well, that's why I said it was too little, too late.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
You're starting laughing halfway through. I'm done. I'm trying to explain it. It's like, let me explain it.
I mean, they should have stopped the bombing of Hiroshima. Don't you think?
But that's different, though. So, I mean,
but isn't that what ended World War II?
It ended the war in the Pacific.
Okay, but still,
That's fascinating.
Because I mean, don't you think they would have like stopped that, or at least gained the technology to do that?
The Germans was the main threat in World War II. So the Allies.
It was the main threat.
So the Allies put the most effort into Europe first. The United States was going at it with Japan, but once the war in Europe ended, everybody put their attention to Japan.
Well, because they wanted to do a show of force.
So it was something like out of every 100 Japanese people, which out of like 10 million people, one out of 100.
The alien should have been a psychic.
The majority of the Japanese people were already in starvation before we dropped the bomb, because Japan was already at a point where they were falling apart, but they were still in the fight.
You're still a better historian than I am. I just studied certain parts of it, the parts that fascinated me on it.
The whole thing fascinates me.
There was parts of World War II that are super fascinating.
Modern day conspiracy theory. Did the government and George W. Bush drop 9/11, the Twin Towers, for money?
Isn't war always for money? It's plausible.
Well, I mean, do you think you think the government would intentionally drop the towers as a pretext to go to war?
I don't know what they would intentionally do, but I do know
the CIA had the plans to go to war with Cuba, doing the same thing.
The reason I say that it's plausible, not to say that I have proof on that, but I do know that one thing that will always get me, and it's such a simple thing. You talk about like,
what's one thing that will always get you?
Okay, so you talk about like government or states or whatever, like, okay, so like the water crisis that happened in Michigan, in Flint, Michigan, a lot of people knew, a lot of people who should have stopped,
but they didn't.
But they didn't. And to me, it's like you are still willing to let this contaminated water flow through, and you know that it's toxic, but yet you're not doing anything about it. So on a smaller scale, people do bad things. So on a bigger scale, is it possible? Yeah, I think it's possible.
It's kind of
this is why people don't trust their government.
Okay. And one more here that came to mind here, conspiracy theories that I was trying to shotgun to you. We were just saying 9/11. I have a couple more conspiracy theories.
Okay.
All right, there's a lot of stories about giants. the Kandahar giant, that the Navy SEALs were going through the mountains, and when the Navy SEALs came across a cave, a giant came out, like one of the giants of old, killed one of the Navy SEALs, and another team of Navy SEALs came in and dropped the giant, and that the Army secretly hid the body of the giant from Kandahar while we were in Afghanistan. Giants plausibility?
I don't buy it. There's no proof. It's just all hearsay. It's all hearsay.
That we developed HARP to control the weather?
You know, it's really weird. Have you ever seen, like, on Instagram where people get asked all this stuff?
I thought you were going to say it's really weird that I know all this stuff.
No, it's really weird that I've actually heard about this, where people actually believe that the government controls the weather. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. I feel like you're...
in Saudi Arabia, they put, what is it, silver nitrite in the air or something, and it causes moisture to condense into water droplets, and they can actually make it rain.
Are we already not controlling the weather by polluting it?
Yeah, there you go. Well,
I mean, is that not enough?
So...
I mean, that's kind of weird.
So when I was trying to throw all these different conspiracy theories at you, what I was trying to convey... I was trying to convey a couple of things.
Okay.
A, that there's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
And B, not only are there a lot of them, but they're incredibly diverse. Everything from UFO abductions all the way to gold in the 1800s, all the way to modern day 9/11. Even an old theory about giants that you read about in the Bible occurring in Afghanistan, like just in the last 10 years in the Navy with the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. All of these things, I can see why people have belief in them. Because, I mean, for me, you just went through it. And I'm telling you why I believe or don't believe. Do I think it's plausible on some? Yeah, because of things that may not have been the same, but similar things that I know have happened that I've seen a documentary on.
Or things like, and here's the thing I always make the point, like with you is because you've seen one of these things. You see something that you can't explain. And again, we may not be smart enough to quantify what we're seeing, like lights in the sky. That's the big one, lights in the sky.
Know.
But you don't know if there is like some sort of scientific experiment, research experiment. You don't know what it is. It could be a UFO. I don't know, but it could very well be secret aircraft.
Well, I mean, look at where we're at. We're close to an Air Force. I mean, and how many times living here have you heard the sonic boom?
The stealth bomber. The stealth bomber was a huge conspiracy theory, and it turned out to be true.
Yeah. And then also we're very close to an Army base. And we know that they do training and testing, simulation for Afghanistan over here out in the desert.
That's right.
And then we've also know that they've also tested bombs out in the desert. So if I'm looking at something, I may not really know because I know of our history.
And what's funny about that stealth bomber one, what I was just saying right now, the stealth bomber was like this big conspiracy theory that people were seeing stuff in the sky. But it turned out not to be a crazy alien thing. It turned out to be advanced airframes that we are developing, but people don't know what they're seeing, so it came out to be like some sort of conspiracy theory, alien technology. And then here we are 20 years later, it's like, oh, it's stealth technology. And the very first ones were the stealth bombers.
Yeah.
The Nighthawk, the stealth fighters.
Yeah.
The ones that were really like the sharp angles, like looking legit. I mean, people were talking crazy like stories about that, but come to find out, it was hardcore research and development into a very futuristic plane.
That's wild, but I mean, we don't know what's going on, and I honestly don't know what technology is out there. I'm not that smart to know. All I know is what I see.
You're a woman in the 21st century.
I know.
You can be smart enough,
good enough, and smart enough,
and
doggone if people like me. I don't know.
So I really like the fact that we're covering this because, like I say, I do like to talk about fringy stuff because it's fun.
Because it is fun. It's entertaining as hell.
But when you look at it from this perspective, like, why do people believe in some of them? Like I say, with flat Earth, some people are very heartfelt, all in believing.
Yeah.
And with as science advances as it is now, it's like, why do you believe that Earth is flat? Like, wouldn't there be like overwhelming evidence in this day and age? Like,
I would like to know these victims who fell off the earth. Oh, they're gone.
I know, right? They're gone.
They're
They
dead.
fell off.
Oh, they're dead.
They fell off.
There's no
atmosphere. They can't
there's
breathe.
no proof.
They may have froze at the edge of the Earth and then fell off.
Well, that's why flat earthers keep thinking, no, there's proof out there, but they're all dead.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
No.
Where?
So there was this one rich guy, and I might butcher this. I'll probably completely butcher it. He conducted an experiment, and he had like a balloon, and I don't know if they went up in it or they had a camera that went super high into the stratosphere to prove that the Earth was flat. And the further they got up, the more they could see the curvature of the Earth.
Well, the Earth, appears to be flat because we're all tied in by gravity.
They were under the assumption the Earth was flat. So if they got high enough, they would
see
be able
it.
to prove that's flat. But they got so high that without a doubt, there is a curvature to the Earth.
You kind of see it when you fly as well.
You kind of see it when you fly, but when
In
you
the
get
atmosphere.
the further up you go, the further away you go, the more it's obvious. So when he came back down, he had actually proven to himself that the Earth was indeed round, like without a doubt. He's like, "Ooh, my bad. Hey guys, I'm gonna prove the Earth is flat. Go up, and you come back down." He's like, "Guys, I don't know how to say this, but my bad."
Well, how sad it is for flat earthers to think that the world is so small if they continue to only see the flat
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't know. I don't get it. It's kind of crazy.
I don't get it either.
I don't know. So this was just a topic I
Only
wanted to
the flat
broach,
stuff.
and
Aye.
there's a lot of reading material about why, and there's actually like names of reasons why people believe. Like there's actually like a name of a reason why people like a condition. You know what I mean? Like OCD and all that stuff. Well, there's a reason. There's a condition where people have a higher propensity to believe, but more than that, I really liked listening to like Neil Tyson deGrasse and Michio Kaku when they were talking about it. How like I say, Neil Tyson deGrasse said is like there's a lot of stuff you don't understand, and so you have the propensity to come up with a reason for why that is, because you don't get it.
Well, I think that should be a part of our next podcast.
Ooh.
So if there's something that we don't understand, try
Yeah.
to come up with the craziest theory or what you would think the understanding for something like that would be.
There's a word I'm trying to think. Bias. There's a what is it? Bias, not bias theory. It's oh my God! And there's one more reason, without a doubt, that why people believe in their own conspiracy theory. It's it's the biased.
Because they don't want to be wrong.
Um,
No one wants to be wrong. We
Oh.
all really need to learn humility. Well, let's humble ourselves and recognize that we might be wrong.
and this is something super. It's called confirmation bias. Have you?
Oh.
I've mentioned it before, but I feel like I have a better grasp on what it is.
Okay, what is it?
So you have a bias of a topic that you strongly believe in. Okay? So for you, a bias that you would believe in is that, like, say that so you believe the sky is not blue, you believe it's green.
Okay.
So what confirmation bias is the evidence that you're looking for. You're looking for the evidence that proves your bias is true.
But you're not looking at You're not looking at the other variables.
Right. So that's why it's called confirmation bias. So whenever confirmation bias says the information that we search for information that proves our theory is true, and that you're not trying to look for evidence that disproves it.
Okay.
So the research you're looking for is to confirm your theory.
I feel like we need to take out that microscope and look for evidence. I'm just kidding. We're just talking about it.
I put a
What the
microscope up
heck?
there for that reason.
I just zeroed in on that. Like,
just
wow.
to,
Let's test this.
I put that microscope there in representation of the scientific.
I know.
Something
Like
in our
I
life,
feel
yeah.
like I just zeroed in on it. I'm like, wow, how
But,
convenient that's right there.
But that's what and we all have a confirmation bias. Everybody
Okay,
does.
I believe that, and I can say that I've
Yeah.
probably been guilty of this, and I'm pretty sure I have.
You got into an argument, and the way you framed and referenced and showed evidence was in support of your argument, because you're not going to have an argument and show the part that is counter your argument,
Yeah.
right? So that's confirmation bias, and we're all guilty of it. At
Oh,
some
of
point.
course.
So confirmation bias is one more aspect of why people believe in conspiracy theories. I believe that aliens are real,
I do too.
and the reason I believe is because I saw a light in the sky, and I believe that I believe the government's hiding it. And so when I say that I believe in aliens, I'm saying that because I'm looking for the confirmation in my evidence to prove that what I'm saying is real.
Yeah.
I'm not looking, like, from a scientific perspective, you look for repeatable evidence, and you look for, you're trying to look like, why is this not true? And as well as, why is this true? And then you try to repeat the results.
Okay.
But maybe a lot of us don't have a strong grasp on that, so that's why we believe in it, and we find evidence to support our own belief. I don't know. You know what I mean? Using the alien theory is like proof. You know what I mean? Like, the proof, I would be like, I was on YouTube and I saw a video, and this guy had a video of this. And I'm not saying that aliens do or don't exist, but somebody that was 100% in, they would look for evidence, videos, and all that stuff to prove it is real.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not trying to play the bad guy. I'm not trying to play the gullible guy. I'm just trying to play the guy in the middle to say, like, this is why we do what we do. But then, like I say, when you and I talk about stuff, we always say we don't know. We realize we don't know what we think we know. We're not that smart.
I'm not that smart.
We're not that smart.
I mean, yeah.
And B, whenever we look at stuff, it's like we always try to go down a checklist. What could it be? Is it really could it be a helicopter? Maybe we don't see the lights well.
Well,
It could, you know what I mean?
Also, too, I mean, I think we perceive like reality based on our own perception of things. So, like, what we know to be true is that's how we're, like, judging everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why, I can go down your checklist of conspiracy theories and be like, nah. This
Yeah.
is why I don't think so, because I've seen this article and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe it. But I'm a very like, I don't always believe everything I'm told. I just don't. I don't buy into it until I have to settle with it first in my mind. I question everything.
I still think it's kind of cool to talk about it, though.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. And you never know. I might be like, well, there's some things that are like fringy out there. I'm like, oh my God. And we've, maybe we've had our own experiences with like ghosts or something really weird. And I can't explain. I've had my own experience with it.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it. And I'll be like, yeah, it happened. I don't know. It's weird. But I've come to the conclusion. I'm like, there was a ghost.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it.
I think I've got to a point where I try to rationalize things in my life, in my mind, in this life, in the sense of like, okay, is that a ghost, or what could it possibly be? I try to rationalize it in modern day stuff. Was it the water lines that were just knocking? And try to see, and try to listen,
I think our second episode was that our second episode was going and doing a ghost, doing a sitting at close to midnight.
Yeah.
And that's weird. And we were freaked ourselves out too.
Yeah. We didn't have any reason to be freaked out that night.
But it was really weird.
It was interesting, right? Mm-hmm. But I won't stop talking about fringy stuff.
No,
I enjoy it.
I think we should
It's
continue
fun.
to do it.
But it's just an interesting idea to think, why do people believe? What drives people to believe, especially the people that are completely bought into it, hook, line, and sinker? And an interesting saying, I guess is a pretty good way to end this topic on, is when you're in a room or you're in a party and you look around and you're trying to look for the weird guy in the room. Mm-hmm. If you don't see the weird guy in the room, are you the weird guy in the room? Right?
Oh my God. I've been the weird guy the whole time.
I'll just leave it at that.
Holy crap.
Are you the weirdo in the room?
I don't know, but I kind of like where this is leading for maybe the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of
I
cool.
love it. I love it. All right.
Well, that was a good talk.
That was fun.
We had about 3 interruptions, and it happens. But
And maybe the splice might make sense. It may not, but I mean, you were here for it the whole time. So
if you stuck to the show this long in the podcast, and you've gone this way with us, and you're having a drink, and you're thinking like, God, these guys are retarded. Thanks for sticking it out with us. Shoot us a like for the. I don't know how many subscribers we have. I know we have 20 for sure. Maybe go between 20 and 40, somewhere between there. But we for sure have like a solid 20. And if you like us, cool. Thank you. Drop us a like. Give us a thumbs up. Remember, we're on YouTube and Rumble. God, we're on everything. Spotify,
Oh my God.
Apple, Google Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Pandora. We're like on all these cool stuff. And I'm going to finish redoing the walls here. So hopefully
love
we
it.
don't have these bland walls. And
no, these are great.
I've added more pins to the map of where I've traveled.
Heck yeah.
I still got the Marine of the Old Man's behind here. Now I have my Rocky Balboa handballs that he bounces everywhere. So I feel like we're kind of getting there in life.
All right.
We're getting grown up.
I love it.
All right. Well, don't
Well, I
stop
think
believing.
we're empty. I think we're
Here's-
like ice. All
Here's
right.
a good message for the night.
All right.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
Oh my God.
All right. You have a
All
good
right.
night. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
It's so